Sivaye Nama Tiruchitrambalam. Welcome back to our discussion on one of our beautiful Pathigams. From the first Tirumurai, 77th Tirupathigam, which is sung to a place called as Achirupakkam. This particular Pathigam is having a very special remedial effect on the emotional level. Are you recently facing any backstabbing or backlashes at workplace? Or have you become a scapegoat for office politics? If your answer is yes, then welcome. This particular Pathigam is a remedy for your emotional turbulence that you guys are going through. As we said, this particular Pathigam was sung by the child prodigy Thiruñana Sambandar as the first Tirumurai, 77th Tirupathigam, and it is sung to a place called as Achirupakkam, and it takes a place 343rd historical place while we look at the journey when Thiruñana Sambandar was going through for all the Shiva temples. Before getting into this particular Pathigam, I would like to share a small experience that we had. Before going into the temple, what I did was, when I visited, I just sat in a quiet place, read the Pathigam once. Then I went into the temple and just went ahead with all my prayers. Again, towards the end, I again found a quiet place, sat there and read the Pathigam once again. I felt the meaning was a little bit more vivid. The reason is the experience that you're going through in the temple is beyond words. So what I intend to do here is share my experience along with the commendable work of socio-religious guilds. So as a combination of these two efforts is what you guys are going to hear and witness this particular explanation. Before going into this Pathigam, I would recommend you guys to watch the video that we already published relating to this temple, because there's a lot of references to that particular temple, so it will be more easier and you will feel a very special bond with the temple when you visit the temple as well as look at the meanings of the Pathigam. Now let's dive deep into this Pathigam now. The Pathigam has 11 verses. The epistrophe is Achirupakkam adu Achi Kondare, which literally translates as Shiva who rules over the place called as Achirupakkam. Now let's get into the first verse. Pontirandu anna Purisadai Purala பொறுகடல் பவளமோடு அழல் நிறம் புரைய குன்ற இரண்டு அன்ன தோளுடை அகலம் குலாயவன் நூலோடு கொழும்பொடி அணிவர் மின் திரண்டு அன்ன நுண்ணிடை அறிவை மெல்லியலாளை ஓர் பாகமா பேணி அன்று இரண்டு உருவம் ஆயயம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. Beautiful verse. Lord Shiva's twisted strands of golden matted hair dangle down in space. There is a beautiful analogy expressed for the matted hair of Lord Shiva. We can witness this magnificent view of coral reefs when we are going snorkeling or scuba diving. The ruddy flame hue is like that of coral reefs that can be witnessed in the deep sea. Along the side of the two strong hill-like shoulders, the chest is adorned with a white 3-ply sacred thread smeared with holy ashes. He has given half of his body to his celestial consort Parvati Devi, whose waist is as narrow as lightning. One thing to remember is here Parvati Devi's one another name is relating to lightning itself. This Lord Shiva is displayed in this single manifestation, a dual form in Thiru Achirupakkam, governs over and graces all his devotees. The form of the Lord at Achirupakkam is the form of Ammai Appar. The contrasting attribute of Lord Shiva is given in a very poetic manner. Lord Shiva wanted to be seen as one. Hence, he gave exactly half of his body to his consort. Yet, he is seen in two Shivlingas in this temple. Such a beautiful way to depict the duality as well as the uniqueness, the omnipotent, omnipresent Shiva. Now let's go into the second verse. Theninum iniyar palana neetrar தீங்கரும்பு அனையர் தம் திருவடி தொழுவார் உன்னயந்து உருக உவகைகள் தருவார் உச்சிமேல் உறைபவர் ஒன்றலாதூரார் வானகம் இறந்து வையகம் வணங்க பயம் கொள நிற்பதோர் வடிவினை உடையார் ஆனையின் உரிவை போர்த்தயம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. Lord Shiva, who is entempled in Thiru Achirupakkam, governs all of us. He is sweeter than honey in all their hearts. One property of honey is it never spoils and it helps in preserving anything that is put into it from decaying. This is also the property of Lord Shiva. He does not have any entanglement and he won't let us be entangled when we completely surrender to him. He smears his body with a milk white holy ashes. He is like the sweet sugar cane. He confers manifold joys on his devotees whose heart would melt while worshipping his holy feet. This temple is built based on Kamika Agama, which is believed to be emanated from Lord Shiva's feet. Hence, anyone visiting this temple with devotion is already under this category, the category where we talk about surrendering ourselves to Lord Shiva's lotus feet. He is ever manifest over their heads as Lord Shiva exists on everyone's Dwadasa Anta, which is 12 inches above our head. He moves about on his bull vehicle. His devotees from the upper worlds cross all the distance and reach the earth in order to adore and worship him. He is of such a divine stature that he bestows grace and makes them all happy by fulfilling their wishes. He has covered his body with the skin of an elephant. He is our prime supreme Lord Chief. Again, beautiful one more verse, which is verse number 3. Kar irul uruva mal varai puraya களிற்றினது உரிவை கொண்டு அறிவை மேல் ஓடி நீர் உரு மகளை நிமிர் சடை தாங்கி நீரணிந்து ஏறுகந்து ஏறிய நிமலர் பேரருளாளர் பிறவியல் சேரார் பிணியிலர் கேடிலர் பேய்கணம் சூழ ஆர் இருள் மாலை ஆடும் எம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. Lord Shiva's consort Uma Devi once in the days of yore took the form of a female elephant, while Shiva himself took the form of a dark, big hill-like male elephant. This is how Lord Ganesha was born. Remember, this temple is associated with Lord Ganesha, who broke the chariot's axle. This incident resonates with the birth history of Lord Ganesha, which is also shared in one another Tirupadigam, Tiruvalivalam. And in the 5th verse, the same information is being given to us. Now, he holds the flooding river Ganges in his raised matted hair. When Ganges was asked to come to earth by Bhagirathan, she was not happy. Who would be happy to come, leave the heavens and come down to earth, isn't it? So the same feeling Ganges would have had, and of course she would have had an even more ferocious attitude. So she challenged who would be ready to hold her force when she is coming down with such a ferocious force. If no one is ready to hold her, then the speed and violent flow would destroy the entire world. Hence, Bhagirathan prayed to Lord Shiva, and immediately Lord Shiva agreed to hold her. That is the history how Ganges came down to earth. He smears his entire body with holy ashes and joyfully rides on his bull vehicle. He is a pure, holy, as well as the most gracious one. He does not belong to the vicious cycle of birth and death. He is free from any malady. He is the most perfect one. He dances in the cremation ground before midnight, surrounded by his demon hosts. He is our ascetic who is entangled into Achirupakkam and governs one and all there. This particular verse is full of Siddhanta concept. The reason for birth is entanglement, which is basically called as Arnavam, Kanmam and Maya. The history of Ganges depicts Arnava. Maladi represents karma, and everything that entangles us is Maya. When burnt down becomes ashes. If we have to set free, a guru is needed to give us the 5-letter syllable mantra. Guru is represented by Nandi, as in the bull vehicle. When he gives us the holy mantra of Shiva, which is represented by Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi, we can get rid of this vicious cycle of birth and death. Now, moving on to the next beautiful verse, verse number 4. Maimalar kodai marbinar yanavum மலைமகள் அவளோடு மறுவினர் எனவும் செம்மலர் பிறையும் சிறையணி புனலும் சென்னிமேல் உடையர் எம் சென்னிமேல் உறைவார் தம் மலர் அடி ஒன்று அடியவர் பரவ தமிழ்ச்சொலும் வடச்சொலும் தாழ் நிழல் சேர அம்மலர் கொன்றை அணிந்த எம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. Lord Shiva's devotees pay obeisance to him and adore him by saying, he is the one whose chest is adorned with blue water lily flower. He is the one who is with the daughter of the huge mountain king Parvati Devi on the left portion of his body. He is the one who holds the ruddy flowers, crescent moon and river Ganges in his matted hair. He is the one who manifests himself over my head and graces me by placing his holy feet on my head. His devotees adore his flowery holy feet with sincere devotion and with oneness of mind, and by chanting the devotional songs both in Tamil and Sanskrit. The sound waves of these songs reach the holy feet of Lord Shiva. He wears the good-looking garland made out of cassia flowers. This Lord Shiva, basically our noble one, is entangled in and rules over all from Achirupakkam. Such a beautiful temple and such a beautiful verse, no doubt about it. Now let's look at the 5th verse. Vinnulam madiyam சூடினர் எனவும் விரிசடை உள்ளது வெள்ள நீர் எனவும் பன்னுலாம் மறைகள் பாடினர் எனவும் பலபுகழ் அல்லது பழி இலர் எனவும் எண்ணல் ஆகாத இமையவர் நாளும் ஏத்து அரவங்களோடு எழில் பெற நின்ற அண்ணல் ஆண் ஊர்தி ஏறும் எம் அடிகள் Achirupakkam adu ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. Lord Shiva wears the crescent moon that strolls in the sky. The waters of the river Ganges are held in his spreading matted hair. He sings the 4 Vedas tunefully according to the mode. He is the most famous person. He has no aspersions cast on him. Numberless devas adore him daily. He is our chief lord of unmatchful beauty and rides on his beautiful bull vehicle. This Lord Shiva is the monarch of Achirupakkam and governs everyone from there. Now moving on to the 6th verse. நீடிரும் சடைமேல் இளம்புரை துளங்க நிழல் திகழ் மழுவோடு நீருமை பூசி தோடு ஒரு காதினில் பெய்து வெய்தாய சுடலையில் ஆடுவர் தோல் உடை ஆக காடரங்காக கங்குலும் பகலும் கழுதொடு பாரிடம் கை தொழுது ஏத்த ஆடு அரவு ஆட ஆடும் எம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. Lord Shiva holds the young crescent moon to shine in his long and dense matted hair. He holds the shining battle axe on one of his hands. He smears his body with holy ashes. He wears a ola roll in his left ear. He dances in the dreadful burning cart, which is basically, we all know, the burial place. He wears the tiger skin as his waistcoat. The theatre for his dance is the burning cart. Ghouls and goblin hosts hail him both day and night with folding hands, decked with hooded and dancing snakes. He dances in the burning cart. This Lord Shiva is our noble one and rules over all people and every living being from Achirupakkam. Now moving on to the 7th verse. ஏறும் ஒன்று ஏறி நீருமை பூசி இளம் கிளை அறிவையோடு ஒருங்குடன் ஆகி கூறும் ஒன்று அருளி கொன்றை தாரும் குளிர் இள மதியமும் கூவிள மலரும் நாரும் மல்லிகையும் எருக்கொடு முறுக்கும் மகிழ் இள வன்னியும் இவை நலம் பகர ஆறும் ஓர் சடைமேல் அணிந்த எம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. One another very, very beautiful verse, I would say. It talks about the way how Lord Shiva dresses him up, especially with beautiful flowers. Lord Shiva rides on his bull vehicle. He smears his body with holy ashes. He shares a portion of his body with a young parrot like Parvati Devi. They are both bodily joined together as one entity, which is concorporated. In his holy matted hair, he wears cassia garland, cool young crescent moon, bay leaves and many other ideal flowers such as the sweet smelling jasmine, yadar, and flowers of the East Indian coral tree, which is called as murukku, ape flower, which is called as mahirampu, and tender sume leaves, ila vanni. The aroma of all these flowers and leaves diffuses all around. Along with all of these, he holds the Ganges river also in his matted hair. This Lord Shiva rules over Achirupakkam. Now moving on to the 8th verse. Kachum ulvalum kattiya udayar kadir mudi sudarvida kavariyum kudayum பிச்சமும் பிறவும் பெண்ணணங்காய பிறைநுதல் அவர் தமை பெரியவர் பேண பச்சமும் வலியும் கருதிய அரக்கன் பருவரை எடுத்த திண் தோள்களை அடர்வித்து அச்சமும் அருளும் கொடுத்த எம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. 8th verse. Usually 98% of Karipalayars, as in Trinyana Sambandhar's Padigams, you will see the 8th verse is dedicated to Mount Kailash as well as the history of Ravana. And this is a pattern you will see. 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th verse, there is a particular pattern that you will observe in almost, I would say, 98% of the Padigams from the first 3 Tirumurai. So here, without any difference, the 8th verse is dedicated to Kailash as well as Ravana. The girl retinue of Ravana dress themselves in a very beautiful manner, tucking a glittering sword in their corset. As in, Lord Shiva, what he is doing is he is wearing a beautiful belt, and with that he is having one of a sword. This sword is later going to be given to Ravana. That's why he is having it handy, so that immediately he can pass it over. And the way how usually ladies dress up our hair is with a lot of things that you can see, which is mainly used to perform our prayers and rituals in any temple. We all know Ravana is one of the very highly devoted person to Lord Shiva, who performs prayers on a regular basis. He is one of a very ardent Shiva devotee. And those are all depicted throughout this particular verse. They also say Ravana is very great and he is matchless mighty. Even then, what he did was a bit of an ego struck him, and because of that his mind went all the way upside down and he started uprooting Mount Kailash, the abode of Lord Shiva. Imagine if someone is disturbing our house, we would be very furious, isn't it? Now this Ravana, even though he is a very ardent Shiva devotee, he went and started uprooting Mount Kailash itself, which is considered to be Lord Shiva's home. Immediately Lord Shiva punished him with a very simple crush under the mountain. And after that, Ravana started shouting in pain, and that is where Lord Shiva came down and he blessed him with a beautiful name called as Ravana. He gave 3,000 years of life, and he also gave a particular kind of a sword, which is what we call it as, it's one of the best swords. And if you can relate it with Ramayana, the moment Ravana dropped that particular sword, that is when he lost. So Lord Shiva governs everybody in Achirupakkam, who went on and blessed Ravana in spite of Ravana doing a very something which we can never forgive him for. Lovely verse again. So we are going to move on to the next verse number 9. Notralarenum Vetalarenum Nugar Pugar Sandamodu Yendiya Malai Kutralarenum Innavaru Endrum Eidal Agadadu Or Iyalbinai Udayar Totralar Malum Nanmugam Udaya Tondralum Adiyodu Mudi Ura Tangal Atralal Kanar Ayayam Adigal Achirupakkam Adu Achi Kondari. Verse number 9 is a beautiful verse talking about Annamalayar. Every 9th verse usually is dedicated to Annamalayar. So without any difference, here also we are seeing that pattern. Lord Shiva is not accessible to those who had not performed any penance, or those who had not done the rituals in the sacrificial fire, those who have not worshipping him in the proper manner by carrying garlands, sandal paste and all of those. In spite of all of this, the most important attribute, or rather one important thing that we have to bring to Lord Shiva is love. He is of this category that no one knows by what means he could be reached. Thirumal, who belongs to the birth and death cycle, as well as the four-eyed Brahma, were unable to reach him by their own effort. Lord Shiva of such a nature is enshrined here and governs all with Achirupakkam. The only way to achieve Lord Shiva's grace is by showing pure love. When I was going through this verse, honestly, one another magnificent sculpture that came across my thought, which I saw in this particular temple, is the sculpture of Kannapar. In this sculpture, it depicts the way how Kannapar takes off his eyes to heal the Shivlinga's eyes. what Lord Shiva is interested in is not in the procedures of prayers or the SOPs to be performed in the rituals. Rather, he is interested in the dedication and the pure love for him. Now, moving on to the 10th verse. வாது செய் சமணும் சாக்கிய பேய்கள் நல்வினை நீக்கிய வல்வினையாளர் ஓதியும் கேட்டும் உணர்வினை இலாதார் உள்கள் ஆகாதது ஓர் இயல்பினை உடையார் வேதமும் வேத நெறிகளும் ஆகி விமல வேடத்தொடு கமலமா மதிபோல் ஆதியும் ஈரும் ஆயயம் அடிகள் அச்சிறுபாக்கம் அது ஆட்சி கொண்டாரே. The summoners, this is also a pattern. Verse 10 will usually talk about anyone who is against Lord Shiva's ideology. The summoners are in the habit of arguing for anything and everything. The Gaul-like Buddhists perform evil deeds and do not do any good to anyone. They are devoid of understanding despite their direct learning and learning through listening. Lord Shiva himself is manifest as the Vedas and their rules and system. He is the immaculate holy God. He is very handsome person like the lotus flower and the cool moon. He is the beginning and end of this world. This great Lord Shiva is the sovereign of Achirupakkam. Now moving on to the finale verse, which is also called as the Falashruti, which is also called as Tirukadaikappu, telling about who sang this padigam and by reading this padigam what are the benefits that one will achieve. மைச்செறி குவளை தவளை வாய் நிறைய மதுமலர் பொய்கையில் புதுமலர் கிழிய பச்சிரவு எரிவயல் வெறிகமழ் காழி பதியவர் அதிபதி கவுனியர் பெருமான் கைச்சிறு மரியவன் கழலலால் பேணா கருத்து உடை ஞான சம்பந்தன் தமிழ் கொண்டு அச்சிறுபாக்கத்து அடிகளை ஏத்தும் அன்பு உடை அடியவர் அருவினை இலரே. ஞான சம்பந்தன், the lord of the Kavuniya sect and the chief of Sirhari town, never thinks of hailing any other god except Lord Shiva, who holds a small deer in one of his hands. Sirhari is rich in beautiful ponds where dark blue Indian lily flowers grow in abundance. These flowers drain their honey in the mouth of frogs that gather near the flowers. Over the newly blossomed flowers, the shrimp and prawn fishes leap and play and tear the petals. Adjoining these ponds, lush fields are in plenty. The loving and devotees who hail the great Lord Shiva of Achirupakkam and the verses sung by Thiruñana Sambandhan in this particular verse will stand free of the effect of their bad actions of the past. As part of this padigam, we may be wondering why Lord Muruga is not elaborated in this padigam. We have seen Lord Shiva in the form of two Shivlingas. His consort Parvati is very beautiful, and this place is related to Ganesha, as we have seen, the one who broke the axle. So, what about Lord Shiva? What about Lord Muruga? That's one of the common question we will be having. In fact, we can see Lord Muruga in a very subtle form in almost all the verses. 100%. This padigam is sung in a pun called as Kurinji. According to the Sangam literature, the geographical land has been segregated into 5 based on climate and the ecosystems. According to this, mountain and related hilly places are termed under a term called as Kurinji, and the god rules over Kurinji is Lord Muruga. That's why when you see the famous temple of Lord Muruga, it's always on top of hills. Not only that, in the book Panjamarabu, they also categorize the colorful, vibrant appearance of Kurinji as a piece of art. If you can recall the entire meaning of this padigam, we have seen so many colorful flowers and the serene natural beauty depicted. And also, when you travel to this temple, you will be traveling alongside a couple of mountainous stretches. Hence, Lord Muruga is there in this pun itself and in almost all the verses. This particular Padigam concludes with a beautiful concept to say, if we want to get rid of our karmic factors or the effect of our previous karma, we need to visit this temple and read the Padigam so that we can easily achieve salvation. What we have done is only given you a taste of the honey. If you really want to enjoy it, you have to read the Padigam and you have to personally visit the temple. Only then you will really be able to relish it. Let me pray Lord Shiva that he needs to give you this opportunity to visit the temple very soon, like the opportunity that he gave us as well. I'll come back again with the next Padigam very soon. Until then, Sivaya Nama, Tiruchitrambalam.